Hey, this is Ruben Lowing. This is my leadership talk for Thursday here in McAllen, Texas, August 5th. Is it the 5th or the 6th? What is it? Let's see here. It is the 6th of August today. This is the day that I was coming back from the Indian Ocean, and as we got off the plane in in Cairo, we were switching planes. We found out that a bunch of Navy SEAL guys, Navy SEAL Team 6 guys, they went down in a Chinook helicopter, right? And I went to the memorial for it, and a lot of I was a civilian by this time, but I saw a lot of Navy SEALs that I worked with. They were there for that. I only knew one guy that was in that disaster. I used to go to church with him. In the military, unless you opt out of it, you get the service group life insurance. It's basically a term policy, and you pay for it. It's inexpensive if you're in the military. But they all get it, and $400,000, and you're paying for it. It comes out of they take it, whatever, $4 a month or whatever comes out of it, pays for your life insurance. But you're paying for it. I had an associate and a customer, and she was a widow, and her husband had died, and he got hit. He was an armored personnel carrier that got rammed by a vehicle in Iraq, and it was a car bomb. Someone drove it into them and blew it up and killed her husband. And she took $200,000 and bought, put it for down payment and closing costs on the house that her and her daughter lived in California. And then she sat on the other $200,000 for 7 years in the money market account that didn't earn any money, nothing. And I'm sitting down her, and she's like everybody else, spending everything they're making. And then we get to her assets, and she's like that, and she looks at me and she goes, this is like March of 2009, and she's like, I know the market's on sale, I just don't know what to do. And so she didn't know, she'd never heard of Western Reserve Life. It was before they became part of Transamerica. So she wasn't comfortable with it. But she heard of Pac Life, so she got Pac Life, right? And then I put her in a Lincoln Financial American Legacy annuity that had some smoking tax advantages, and because it was non-qualified money, right? And so you don't want to put somebody in something that's not taxed to get them to have to pay tax on it, right? And then I put her into a California municipal bond fund for an emergency fund, and she so end of the year, doing her end of the year review, that municipal bond did like 28%. And one of the senior guys just says, okay, get her out of that. That's never going to happen again. And so I put her into a Prudential non-qualified annuity, with like a 6% guaranteed had at the time. And she always has to call me up and get me to read her statements. So long story short, about 2 years ago, her money grew to over $1 million, right? And she was in a variable VUL. She wasn't in an IUL, okay? But last year, her surrender charge was over, so she can get her principal back and do some things she wants to do with it, right? Haven't been able to get a hold of her. My number changed, her number changed. I don't know what happened to her, but I have a buddy, and this is hard for me to talk about. Okay, my best friend. He was my first associate I ever recruited. He's a pastor, and he's a heavy equipment operator. Works up in the oil fields, right? And the refineries in Houston, and he's gone all the time, so he wasn't doing nothing, and the refinery next to his blew up, and I think it had a couple explosions, right? And they decided to get a policy for him and his wife and his oldest son, okay? And he wasn't real aggressive about getting me into his list or about getting licensed, right? And then he's coming back from Houston when this whole COVID-19 thing started. And he's a good worker. He's well respected on his job from the high level executives. That they know who he is, and he's like the last one to get laid off because he's a good worker. And he's driving back, and he's going. He's a pastor, right? He's going. My wife and I, we never saved this kind of money like this. When we never, when we had money, we would buy all those things we couldn't have when we didn't have any money, right? And but now we've been saving. We got an emergency fund. We're being smart about it. We got a budget. This is we're good. But these other guys, they're not, and they're going to be hurting. They need this. I'm like, I preach it, right? So he comes back and he's trying to get all this stuff done, all these honeydews, the things that he couldn't do when he was gone, and his reasoning was to because when he does this, he's going to go all in, right? And things keep happening and keep happening and happening. Okay, so what happened in the last 18 days? He had his mother, who's diabetic, went into the hospital. I know her. I know her mother. You go to barbecue, but every Saturday night and sometimes Friday nights. You have our Bible study barbecue at his house, right? And with his dad there, who's also a pastor, and just it's awesome. We get really deep into the Word, right? And he's kind of being subtle, trying to approach the family, and talking about what he's got, and and he's got his brother kind of dabbling, trying to glean information, and I don't talk to him because I'm not gonna, I can't give him. Well, I can't do it right there. We need to get an appointment. So I try to get an appointment with him. Got an appointment with his sister because her husband, got in a really bad car accident and walked away. But it's like a miracle that he walked away, right? And so we got them with Bernadette, and but then his mom got COVID, and then his uncle died of COVID, and his other uncle died of COVID, and then his aunt died of COVID, and then his buddy died of COVID. Now it was all comorbidity issues. Like she had diabetes. The one brother had a heart attack about a year ago. He almost died. The other brother was going in for dialysis, got it going into dialysis, and he died. And the aunt, I think she was diabetic too. She died, and then his buddy, was morbidly obese, and he died. Okay, so they all probably would have had real hard problems getting approved, with anybody but Everest or Gerber. Okay, but now they're doing a GoFundMe to pay for it. And it isn't just his mom's funeral. They got two uncles and an aunt that they got to do this for, right? And it's I feel bad. I feel really bad because I'm not. This has happened before. This happened before when I was in the business in California. Here my best friend ends up, going into foreclosure and filing bankruptcy, and here I am, uh, debt management expert, and have this business, and helping people with their finances, and nobody referred me to anybody. Nobody trusted me to go talk to anybody. Right? It stopped with them. Right? Well, that ain't happening anymore. Right? And I ain't figured out the protocol yet. Right? On how to do it without coming off like totally a flaming, raging, maniacal maniac. Right? But people are going to pay attention. They need to pay attention. Right? Because bad things happen. And I gave money to the GoFundMe. I mean, it's but that's not how it should be done. That's not how it should be done. All right, people should get it together. All right. Have a great day.